Ladies and gentlemen, Marion Blair here. Today I'm going to be testing the Viofo A119 Mini dash cam. I've been testing it actually for about 2 weeks, and I decided to do this video. They sent it to me to test, but I wouldn't be doing the video if I didn't think it was worth, worth something that I could either recommend or use, and I'm going to be definitely using it because I like it. Just right up front, I'll tell you that. And I'll show you the reasons why. One thing though is it takes the heat, and I did a lot of testing on that because the GoPro is terrible with heat. It just don't take the heat, and it'll run for 10 minutes up there on a dash in a closed vehicle, and it'll quit. And so you can't really use it for that. They run hot. The GoPros run hot, but this quality of this Viofo, the lens itself is made by Sony, and it's a high quality lens. It's actually got a wider lens, a faster lens, and a bigger lens. So, or bigger recording image, equivalent to a negative on a camera. I like it, and I like it a lot. There's a few things that I was a little bit confused about because I really don't know much about dash cams, and I have nothing else to compare it to be honest. But you can set it in the loop mode where it'll just continue to loop, and you never have to worry about your SD card filling up and that sort of thing. And but it'll keep looping until it fills the SD card, then it'll start over again. I think that's the way it works. I've never actually filled a SD card yet, but and I've been using a 64K. It comes with everything you need. Plug into the cigarette light if you want to do it that way. You can hardwire it. They got that. The little dash cam is only about a little over $100, 130 something bucks I think I saw on Amazon, and it has a GPS, and that's what I like about it. And I'll show you that in a minute. But it has a GPS. You leave that on the vehicle, and then you can take the dash cam off, bring it and download it or whatever you want to do, or take the card out if you prefer. But what I like about it is you can flop it from vehicle to vehicle and not have to worry about a suction cup or that little sticky thing. And it's very reliable. You just start the truck, it comes on, you stop the truck, it goes off. And there's different modes. Like I said, you can set it in for security type thing, where if you wanted to go inside the store or something and somebody come around fooling with your truck or something, it would start recording. And you'd have to have it hardwired for that. Right now I'm not hardwired. They also have a little button that you can use to lock the video, just in case you see something like an accident or something. You say, oh man, I want to save this video. I don't want to take a chance on it overwriting my SD card or something. So you can hit a little button, or you can do it up on the dash cam itself, which is what I'm going to do because I have it mounted right up here. But I'm going to show you that in the video, so let's go ahead and get into that, and I'll show you what I got on it so far. But I like it, and I'm going to keep it and use it, and it's going to stay in my truck. I'll probably put another GPS. It's got a GPS. I'll probably put another one in other vehicles because everything on this thing is inexpensive, under 20 bucks. So let's go. Okay, so I was on my way out to the garage to show you how easy this thing hooks up and how it hooks up and all of that. And I dropped the camera while I was fiddling around with the tripod and the camera and the light and all that stuff. And the polarizing lens flew off of it. But other than that, and it bounced all the way on the concrete, went all the way across underneath the truck. I said, well, looks like I'll have to buy a camera. I went on the other side, got it, looked at it. I cannot find a scratch on this thing. So I guess that's a good test for the build quality. I took it inside, powered it up. Seems to still be fine. It's focusing, it records. Nothing unusual. So we'll see. But that was really something. Now, here's the thing I wanted to show you. See this little deal right here? That's the GPS. You can buy these things for 19 bucks each. So my plan is to put one in each car for $19 instead of They do give you some little sticky film things that you can pull it off and put it back on different cars and stuff. But for 19 bucks, I'll just leave this mounted, the GPS mounted, and just flop the camera. The camera just snaps on. You got to kind of get it aligned, though. It can be very particular because it's a hard, fast mount. Now these little cameras don't have a like that. They don't have image stabilization or anything, so you know they got to be pretty solidly mounted, and they are. One of the good things about this camera, though, is there's absolutely nothing to do when you get in your truck. You can forget about the camera. You can set it to loop record, and when you set it to loop record, it will just, depending on how much time you want it to loop, it'll just record over and over every so many minutes, and that way you never fill up the SD card or have to worry about filling it up and then maybe losing something important. The other thing about it is there's a little button right here which also operates some of the menu. You can operate the menu without the app, but they have a little app on the App Store that works good from what I can see. I've used it quite a bit. It's very similar to the GoPro app. But anyway, there's a button right here, kind of an emergency button. And if you do have something that you see on the road or something, you say, man, I want to make sure my loop doesn't record back over it. You just hit this button right here, and it'll lock it in place. Also, you get a little remote control button, which they sent me, but I haven't tried it. But you can mount it anywhere. Like you could mount it right here or down here somewhere. It connects by Bluetooth, and you hit that button, and it'll do the same thing. Because a lot of people, now for me, it's just a matter of reaching up right here and pressing this button because it's so convenient. You know, I don't really need the remote control. A lot of people like to mount it over here on the other side of the mirror, and it may be more difficult. So it depends on where you have it mounted. And then for me, I just have it hooked up right now with the included cigarette lighter plug, which works fine. They do have a hardwire kit. I have that. They sent me that. All of this stuff, it seems like it's all $19, you know. The hardwire kit, I believe, is $19, maybe less. But it does include a sensor on it that will keep your battery from depleting if you, if you leave it on too long or something like that. On the RAM, you'd have to leave it on for a very long time to deplete those two 12-volt batteries. As far as normal stuff, an hour, even longer. I think it gives you a maximum of 48 hours. And you can also set it into different modes like time lapse, different resolutions and stuff. But I really like it. I really like it now because it's apparently pretty damn tough. I was debating whether to mount it over here on the top of my Banks iDash and put it right there, but I was thinking, well, maybe I have a better view right here. Although this is a 140-degree view. The other thing I did on this camera is a heat test to see how much heat it would take, because we're here in August, which is, I think, historically the hottest month in Louisiana. We run 90s, high 90s all day long. So I wanted to see just how much heat it could take, because the GoPro does not take the heat. It'll run for maybe 10 minutes and then kick off if you just got it sitting in the hot sun. It's happened to me numerous times, and I've lost so much footage that way. It really pisses me off. So I did a test on this, and I'm going to show you that next. For me, the cigarette lighter is fine. You can also get like a little battery pack if you want to just unplug it, plug it back in, and it'll run constantly while you're shopping or whatever. You can also set it to where it'll be off. It's called the parking mode, where it will not be recording, but it will be on, so you need power, and it has motion detection. So if it detects motion, then it'll start recording. Now, this company, Viofo, also offers a different variety of cameras. This is probably more of the budget model at only a little over $100. You can get some that you have this camera and you have two remote cameras. So you could have a side camera and you could also have a rear mounted camera, which is kind of nice. They all sync together, whereas your video, you know, if you needed it. But this is fine for me, and I like the idea of being able to do this right here and snap it on and off and take it from one place to the other. This little lens rotates up and down, so you can you know, do what you want with that. And I once I get it mounted on the truck, I set it to, you know, to where I want it to be, and then I'll rotate it that way. Besides the video quality, this is something that really sold me. It surprised me. That second light, the red one, means that it's recording. I left it sitting out in the sun, in the morning sun in my yard for, I don't know, all morning. And took my laser temp gun and took a look at it. 173 degrees. And I didn't expect it to be recording. So I took it back inside and pulled the video, and sure as hell it's perfect. Here's the video that was recorded at 172 degrees. I'm using a 64 gig SD card that I got from Viofo. I recommend using, it doesn't come with one, so you know, you should probably use a pretty good quality one, especially if you're going to try to expose it to this kind of heat. Now, this first clip was recorded at 1080p, which is pretty much a normal resolution that most modern televisions and laptops and that sort of thing display. And we'll look at some 2K in a little bit, but let me pause here and explain a couple of things here at the bottom. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you can see where you have your speed here. And the little app gives you a choice of knots or mile per hour, whatever you want. And then you got your coordinates, of course. And you can pull this all up on the app. If you had to show a video to a police or somebody right away, you can pull all this up and play it back right there off your iPhone or whatever. And then over here on the right side, which was confusing to me, and I don't see any way to make this like the American. This is more of the Asian way of doing it from the time I spent over there anyway. And they told me you can change that in the app, but I don't see that. But maybe you can, but I couldn't find it. What it's doing is putting the date first. And you can sync it right up with your using your iPhone or whatever you got off the app. You just hit sync to a phone and it'll set the time, which is pretty nice, because generally your iPhones and Android whatever keep pretty much the perfect time. And as a comparison, here's some night footage from the Viofo. It does a good job at night. This video ran a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but let me just finish with a couple of little brief notes. One thing, all of this video that you've seen so far has been recorded in 1080p. It's also been recorded with a polarizing lens over the current lens, which is a little filter. Kind of makes the sky a little bluer and takes some of the dash reflection away. I recommend getting one with, regardless of what camera you have, GoPro, whatever it is. You can buy a polarizing lens for anywhere from 11 to I think 18 bucks is what I saw online. Also, I didn't mention tech support, but it's good. You can leave a message, they'll get back to you within a day, sometimes maybe faster. But I really like the little camera, and as mentioned, I'm going to buy another GPS so I can put one in my wife's car and just swap the camera around instead of trying to fool with the sticking and unsticking and all that kind of stuff. I'll close this out with some 2K video, which is the highest this little camera will display, although it's going on YouTube at 1080p. But there may be some minor advantage, but I don't see it on the average screen you look at on your laptop or display on your computer. It all looks about the same, really. So what are some improvements that I would do to this camera that I'd recommend to Viofo? Raise the volume on the audio. I don't see any way to raise it, and it's too low. Give you the option to change that date format in the app. I don't see how you can do it. And then the last thing, which is probably the most significant, In the app, it gives you the option to turn the loop off. In other words, so it doesn't record back over the SD card after it fills up. I didn't realize that when you do that, when you have it off, you can get corrupted files, and I was getting quite a few corrupted MP4 files at first. But after I got with tech support, they told me the files were too long. I turned it off and set it to any loop amount. It doesn't matter if it's, looping at 10 minutes or whatever, but it'll just do the same thing. It'll go ahead and use up the whole SD card, and then it'll start over again. So, if you don't know that and you have it off, you're going to get some corrupted files. At least that's what I found out. But that's the only really 3 things that I can find, that I would improve on. In conclusion, I like the camera. I think it's a good little inexpensive camera. Has a lot of features that I didn't discuss, just don't have the time. But it's pretty much foolproof. Just get in your truck, drive off, shut it down. It's going to take care of itself until you really need it in case of an accident or something that you really need to look at. It'll be there for you, I think. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching my video, and until next time, adios.